Ladies and gentlemen, we back, you hear me? We back for another episode of Flipping Tables with Dee-1. This is the podcast. I told y'all I was going to stay consistent, you heard me? And I'm back for another episode, so thank you for tuning in. Let's start out with a prayer. Father God, we thank you so much for this day and for this opportunity, and I thank you for this platform, for me to be able to speak life into the hearts and the ears of the people listening to this. Lord, I thank you for each and every person, and no matter what they're going through, allow them to put their fears, their worries, their anxieties, their stresses down so that their hearts can be opened and for you to be able to speak through me so that this can just be an amazing episode for everybody. And keep it fun for me as well, you heard me, because I just want to do this to be in service to you while at the same time just honoring the authenticity that you have blessed me with. So I don't ever want this to feel forced. So let's get it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right.
Amen.
Woo. All right, y'all. We back. Like I said, I got to start the episode off straight like this. Financial prosperity without moral integrity is the devil's best friend. I'm going to say that one more time. Financial prosperity without moral integrity is the devil's best friend. And that is what's happening when it comes to Sean P. Diddy Combs and this whole idea of what we have called black excellence. Today, I don't know that man personally. I'm not here interested in trying to slander his name or anything like that, but we got to call a spade a spade. We got to call facts facts, you heard me? So this is an awakening time. This is a reckoning with reality of what's going on right now, right? Diddy been in the news. People been talking about if he gonna go to jail forever. Is he gay? Why he got 1,000 bottles of lubricant and baby oil, you heard me? People been talking about if he's just a morally corrupt human being, but maybe none of these charges are criminal charges. And there's all those angles to look at it from. But who looking at it from the angle of, regardless, this is not of God, and this is something that our whole culture has been sold this idea of what black excellence was, right? And unfortunately, y'all, black excellence came along with financial prosperity minus moral integrity. As long as you could pop bottles of alcohol, right? As long as you could show that you get into the bag, and when I say bag, I ain't talking about building a generation. I'm talking about the bag, the money bags, right? As long as you could do that and make it look good and be fresh and debonair in the process, that's the idea of black excellence. Well, now we see that black excellence, with that definition, has to be trashed. It's time to start over. We got to have a whole new standard for what black excellence is. And even if you white or you Hispanic and you watching this, you heard me? Even that, the idea of excellence, period. We just put black in front of it because it was referring to black people. But for everybody that's watching this idea of black excellence or just excellence, period, it has to be something that comes along with moral integrity. If you try to X God out of excellence, it ain't going to work, partner. You the one that's going to get X'd out every single time. And our culture, anyone who has elevated Diddy to a place and a space of viewing him as an icon or viewing him as the face of and an example of what black excellence looks like, I mean, this is a time to be humbled. Undoubtedly, Diddy is being humbled. Like, Diddy is in jail. As I record this podcast, you heard me? Diddy is in jail. And from what I've seen on TV, it's one of them prisons, it's one of them jails that it's rough. It's rougher than rough in there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say it's almost inhumane. So this is coming from a dude who was a billionaire, right? A billionaire. Might still be. I don't know how much money he got. I don't keep up with that kind of stuff. But that'd be y'all wanting to count people's pockets. But but real talk, yo, in jail right now. And let's just say, you know, everybody wants to go back. First of all, everybody in the culture, right, in hip-hop culture and black culture has these strong opinions on Diddy at this point. They either got these strong opinions or they're super silent right now, right? And I think the reason why is because people are thinking about, what does this moment mean for me? So the people who were involved with him and who were complicit with all of these acts that they knew were immoral, were perhaps criminal. Now they're thinking about, oh, does this mean that I'm going to be a part of that indictment, right? So you got a lot of people that's feeling like that. And listen, if anything, I'm not a lawyer. If anything Diddy did was criminal, and if it comes along with and requires jail time, then that's what has to happen. That's just what has to happen. There's no way around that. You feel me? Man, this culture is so fickle. This idea of Black culture or hip-hop culture or Black excellence, these are buzzwords. They are so fickle, so fickle. I'm talking about, like, you see how fickle people's support is. You see how people will move the goalposts of defining something to make it be what they want it to be in that moment. And man, all this is just pointing us back to God. Like, at the end of the day, why are we running away from who should be the standard of excellence? Why are we running away from the fact that Christ already lived and walked this earth? That's a beautiful standard of excellence right there. But now we got human beings, imperfect human beings, who want to recreate this idea of what Black excellence looks like, or what excellence looks like from a culture, right? And you don't be seeing God nowhere in that definition. That's dangerous. Ooh, that's dangerous. You don't see God anywhere inside of that definition. So with Diddy going down right now, and there being, I guess, maybe 20-something years worth of people who have been complicit with this lifestyle. And I had to go, before the podcast started, I had to go and see, like, what was this definition of Black excellence that was even, like, given to us and pushed upon us all this time? Man, it was just a definition that involved a whole bunch of Ciroc, a whole bunch of other alcohol, a whole bunch of just, like I said, just getting fresh, being sharp, a whole bunch of just partying, and a whole bunch of, yeah, we love each other, whatever that means, you know what I'm saying? And just getting to the bag and getting your money.
It's 2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was 2016. Yeah. The game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a Black billionaire's lunch. Yeah. You understand? Right. And we here together, and we're going to keep staying together. We getting tighter. That's you know what I'm saying? And united we stand. And ain't nothing else to us. Black excellence. Right here.
Meanwhile, the moral integrity amidst all of this stuff is nowhere to be found. So that's really about all I got to say. Like, we don't have to overly, like, push stuff more than it has to be pushed. Divorce yourself, all right? Divorce yourself from this attachment that you may have to Black excellence. Why strive for Black excellence when you could strive for godly excellence? Why? It just don't make sense. You feel me? Especially when Black excellence has been associated with so many things that's not of God. You feel me? Even inside of hip-hop culture or Black culture, there are so many things that those cultures will accept as a part of those cultures that have nothing to do with God's culture. They have nothing to do with what God will be pleased with. So when we pledge an allegiance to these man-made cultures, you heard me? Black culture, this definition, or hip-hop culture, man, that stuff sound cool, man. And I respect the elements of hip-hop. That's what I respect. I respect the various elements of hip-hop. But in terms of the culture and the lifestyle that's associated with it and who you surrender to, like, who you surrender, man, I don't surrender to no man. I just don't. I don't. There ain't no mogul, no figurehead, and y'all done seen me have stuff play out with people online, you heard me? And I mean, I could talk about it. Call it like it is, you heard me? I got a new single out right now, Call It Like It Is. Y'all hear me on that, I'm cutting up on that, and I'm just keeping it real. Like, because I'm not going to surrender to anybody except for God, except for Jesus Christ, you feel me? Like, I'm just not, because people want you to, like, pay homage to them. Like, for what? Like, literally. And it's not because I'm opposed to paying homage, but this is a culture that, man, when I think about Diddy and just things that you would associate him with, people would associate him with having a lot of money, an intense work ethic, but also with being very cocky, very arrogant, right? And that sort of showmanship or that sort of character is something that people in the culture that surrenders to people like him and submits to him, that'll be something that people would say, well, I guess that's just a trait to adopt because that's the way Diddy is. And we see him screaming and yelling after he closed a business deal and say, I get what I want. I get what I want. And throwing phones and throwing papers and all that stuff. And people are like, yeah, that boy cutting up right there. Yeah, that's how we need to be. It's really not, though. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, we've been fooled. Like, we've been fooled. Gotcha. You know, I like that Kanye meme a whole lot. We might have to put it right here in the episode. You heard me? I'm going to send it to my dog. Hey, gotcha. That's what they did with us, y'all. Gotcha. They got us. Y'all going to see that meme a lot. If I keep doing this podcast, oh, believe that. Because we've been gotcha a whole lot in this culture. And so all we trying to do is flip them tables and show people that when you come in with truth, when you being real, righteous, and relevant, even in this culture, you don't have to be weak. You don't have to back down when people try to oppose you. Because at this stage of my life, I'm no stranger to opposition. I'm no stranger. But it's simply because when you draw a line in the sand and you mess people's ant pile up, they had an ant pile that was built high, super high on wretchedness. People building ant piles on sin. And when you come and you draw a line in the sand and be like, well, what side are you on in terms of what you're trying to represent? And people get mad because you done messed their ant pile up. You heard me? You can't be righteous and ratchet. We all got it in us, but that don't mean that it's something that we say, yeah, like we proud of that. You got to know that. You got to know that. So moving forward, man, in terms of my personal thoughts on this, I feel like I don't want to get over-invested into what's going on because some people will take this and it'll just be a name drop. It'll just be, oh, let's just talk about Diddy and everybody just jump on the Diddy bashing bandwagon, right? That's what the culture is good for. That's what humanity is good for. That's what social media is good for. But what are we learning from this that we are going to become better from? And I think the lesson to be learned is financial prosperity minus moral integrity is the devil's best friend. So we have to make sure that in a culture where we are prioritizing making your money and how to come up and financial literacy, especially in the Black community, is something that is being talked about and normalized more than ever. That should never be ahead of moral integrity and spiritual integrity, right? Because God don't care about your cause. He care about your character. God don't care about your career. He care about your character. God don't care about your savings account, your IRA, your investment properties, your stocks. God don't care about that stuff more than he cares about your character, your spiritual integrity. Straight up. So that's just something that the culture needs to know. And I mean, y'all can let me know what y'all think about this. I know that this is tough for some people to reckon with because now it's like, wait, so we actually looking to put up points on a different scoreboard at this point in life. Looking to put up points, not just on the financial scoreboard, not just on the I'm popping in the world's eyes scoreboard, because they've taught us how to put up points on that scoreboard. And we know exactly how to have our focus fixated on that scoreboard. Boy, I can't wait. I can't wait to make this announcement on Instagram. Boy, I can't wait to tell them about this promotion. I can't wait to brag on this. I can't wait to show off that new car I just bought or to take my bread and go get fresh and then post that picture. That's a certain scoreboard that we have been indoctrinated to look at. Now, for many people, as crazy as it sounds, this is the first time that they are starting to see, and they might not even see it. That's why I'm glad that I could do this podcast and had this platform, because they're not even seeing in this moment. Because what they'll do, what the culture will do is bash Diddy for this moment, be like, all right, another one bites the dust, but then still be focusing on the same scoreboard and still be focusing on the same set of values that was the problem in the first place. Diddy was just great at playing the game, playing that game. You feel me? He was just great at playing that game. And y'all don't want to hear this, but even Diddy needs to be prayed for. Even Diddy needs to be loved on at this point. Because according to the God that we serve, there's no one that shouldn't be prayed for. You called to pray for your enemies. You called to love your enemies. All that stuff. So in a culture that's quick to cancel, we need to be quick to say, well, we need to pray for that person. Once again, if there's things that was criminal, you heard me, that come along with that, oh yeah, do the crime, then you got to do the time. That's reality. But this culture, the way we set up, people are just bash him and still be fixated on that same lifestyle and not even realize that, man, we watching the party die right in front of our face, in the words of Kendrick. We watching the party die. But they'll be like, no, this party can't never die, because that's all we know. Well, it's time to know something different. And it's time to know something better that don't come along with all that anxiety and all that fear of failure and all of that being depressed and all of that constantly feeling like you're not worthy and you're not good enough. That's what that scoreboard will get for you. Meanwhile, this scoreboard over here with God, it's like, dang, I don't have to worry about any of them pressures from over there. That's super powerful. That's super powerful. So I did want to speak on that. For this next segment, it's going to be called Call It Like It Is. You heard me? So if y'all watched the first episode, if y'all watched the last episode of Flipping Tables with Dee-1, I spoke about the Kendrick Lamar shout out that he gave me on his song Watch the Party Die. Life-changing shout out, honestly. Shout out to all the media outlets that have covered my response. I made a response song to it, and the name of the song is called Call It Like It Is. It's currently on all the streaming platforms. I really hope that everybody listening to this or watching this already has that song in your library and in rotation. But if you don't, go get on that ASAP. This song is fire. This one of them ones, yo. Oh, like I love performing this song. I just performed it in California for the first time over the weekend. I was out there in Cali. I did Nick Cannon's podcast. I had to go do a whole bunch of other podcasts while I was out there that's dropping. My man 19 Keys, Bootleg Kev, The Company Man, and I did some community service while I was out there. Shout out to all the CVI LA leaders from around the country, preventing gun violence in their communities. I got to perform at their graduation ceremony, and then we did a huge give back. Gave away about over $200,000 in goods to the community right there on 4th Avenue and Vernon Avenue. You heard me? I think that's right there by Lamar Park. Amazing. It's such a blessing to be a blessing. A quote from my grandpa is, I get a tremendous feeling when I know that I'm helping someone. I'll never forget when he told me that. He said, Doc, I get a tremendous feeling when I know that I'm helping someone. And, you know, I love that because I can relate to that. So amidst all this, I put out the song Call It Like It Is. Shout out to the Breakfast Club. They covered it. Breakfast Club did a whole segment just talking about their love for it. You heard me? So shout out to Charlamagne. Shout out to DJ Envy. Shout out to the young lady Lauren, who was on there. Just, yeah, I appreciate the commentary. All the other outlets that posted it. I believe Hip Hop DX posted it, allhiphop.com, Proper XL, The Art of Dialogue, buku outlets, you heard me? So Call It Like It Is. On this song, I could play it for y'all right now on the podcast, but I want y'all to go listen to it on y'all own. I'm just gonna spit it, and that mug come on, and I say, I don't care what these people think. I'm trying to make these people think. What up, Kendrick? We flipping tables, man. I had to shout y'all out, shout the podcast listeners out, right? And then we say, call it like it is. All right. Y'all done turned this culture trash. These so-called legends ain't no legends. I don't care if they sold millions. Are you hearing their message? Poisoning our whole community. Everybody hypnotized. Why you think nobody respect black people? No big surprise. Call it like it is. And I love New Orleans, my city, but I love God way more. I don't care if none of y'all with me. We celebrate being stupid, and everybody's so gangster. But when you clocking for that white man, you be on your best behavior. Call it like it is. And most of these media people lame. They wasn't never really, really cool before they got inside of this here game, instigating y'all being messy. Y'all ain't helping nobody grow. Tell Joe Budden I'm on a mission, so don't butt in, Joe. Man, I'm going to call it like it is. No, ain't no pressure on me. I'm applying the pressure. I'm powered by G-O-D, and we gon' be, all right? That's what Kendrick Lamar said. And in the words of Lil Wayne, the sky's the limit, yeah. That's the first verse, man. And in that song, I mean, I just come out keeping it 100, yo. You know, like, call it like it is. Y'all done turned this culture trash. These so-called legends ain't no legends. I don't care if they sold millions or you hearing their message. We're going to do a whole episode on that. We're going to do a whole episode, right, on that. But I'm gonna just talk about it right now. These people that we call legends inside of hip-hop are not legends. A lot of these people, right? Because if we finish that sentence and we say they are a legend at what? And if you actually dissect what their whole musical catalog has represented and what got them popular and paid and famous, it's making murder my own people music. So you a legend at making murder your own people music. You a legend at making sell dope to your community music. You a legend at making disrespect our women music. You a legend at glorifying the power of what's between your legs, ladies. You heard me? That's what you a legend at? When you think about it like that, you realize that these quote-unquote legends are actually people in need of therapy. They are in need of prayer. They are in need of help. But because there's a backwards, upside-down reward system inside of hip-hop, it has elevated what should actually be separated from the people that's trying to do God's work, from the people that's really trying to represent a standard of excellence that doesn't have to X God out. And that's the problem, is hip-hop got this backwards reward system to where we have elevated the lowest level of who it is we are and the lowest level of what we represent and can do well. And we've chosen to elevate that. So now I'm just flipping some tables trying to get people to think better and trying to get people to think right. Legends. Man, y'all better miss me with that. Say, if y'all keep watching this podcast, you heard me? Everybody subscribe to the YouTube channel, by the way, if you haven't already. When it's up on the audio podcast platforms, make sure you add this in your rotation. Do whatever you got to do. Hit the like, subscribe, favorite button, just all that stuff. Do that, right? Do that. But yeah, poisoning our whole community. Everybody hypnotized. Why you think nobody respect black people? No big surprise. Now, as black people, we've been getting disrespected before hip-hop was even in existence, right? But now that hip-hop is in existence, and so many of us love hip-hop, we want to be in it, either as a commissioner, a creator, or a consumer, one of the 3 C's, right? Now that so many of us cling to hip-hop culture, we got to make sure that hip-hop culture actually represents and glorifies and elevates the best of who we are. And it doesn't right now. Sit with that. You heard me? Sit with that. I don't know if y'all could take, like, me going in on the whole song for Call It Like It Is. But I'm going to call it like it is some more. I say, and I love New Orleans, my city, but I love God way more. I don't care if none of y'all with me. We celebrate being stupid. And everybody's so gangster. But when you clock in for that white man, you be on your best behavior. Yeah. Some people need to hear that, man. Some people need to internalize that. Man, my city has become infatuated with murder and Mardi Gras. We celebrate being the murder capital of the United States. A lot of people in my city be priding themselves on that. And that's from my generation of adults all the way down to even my little nephews. They tell me at school, like, yeah, like they friends and all that. Yeah, people get hype off of that stuff. People feel like that's a badge of honor to how gangsta our city is, man. We the murder capital, man. Us, man. We on that line. All that. It's crazy, yo. It's crazy. And during this time, man, I've been disappointed by people. They got people in my city who I got real relationships with, you feel me? Who I watch my man, Mr. Mina. This supposed to be an OG in the city. Come on, Mina, brother. Like, literally, dog, like you really like a OG in so many ways, right? But I watched this man get on his podcast that I just was on, and say he feel like I'm clout chasing, you know, because of my opinions. I'm sorry, Mina, but you just lost in the sauce, my boy. You just intoxicated with the ignorance, you know? Mina, you grown, brother. You heard me? You grown. Like literally, like grown, bro. You supposed to know this. And when I'm seeing that he got a good heart, but it's just not clicking. It ain't clicked yet. To where he's like, man, and it's because you're too involved in it, brother. You're too involved in it. That's all. So I see that, and I watch people like that call me a clout chaser because of me choosing to speak out on things or not go along with the crowd. Have y'all ever thought about this? Sometimes the crowd is loud and wrong. Sometimes the crowd is loud and wrong. And that's the problem. That's the problem with groupthink. That's the problem, yo. And there's people who I don't probably expect the same from. And there's other people who, my man P-Town Mo down there, and I'm cool with all these people. I'm cool with me and I'm cool with P-Town Mo. Like literally, I still consider myself to be cool with them. But I just see that for them, there has become this level of regional identity and regional loyalty that has turned very unhealthy to where somebody going against like what everybody wants to pledge allegiance to in the city, regardless of what my track record has been and the way that I've been the same way since day one, since I was a college student, that bothers people, you know? So that's okay. Cause you know, that just gave me another idea. I'm about to, what our time looking like, brother?
We at 32 minutes.
Oh, yeah, it's about that time. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm about to end this podcast episode wherever you at. If you're at the crib, I hope you have a great evening, great morning. If you're on the way to work, I hope that go great. If you're on the way to school, hope that go great. But we about to end this because I just thought about, man, I know what the next episode gonna be about already. And it's called My Spirit Irritates Your Demons. See y'all later. Flipping Tables with Dee-1, you heard me? Make sure you go get the new single, Call It Like It Is, on all streaming platforms. Make sure you get the new album, Loaded, which stands for Life of a Disruptor, Evolving Daily, on all streaming platforms. We debuted at number 2 in the world, you dig? Behind Eminem on the hip-hop charts. Oh, you better believe that. You better make sure that you subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Follow me on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, definitely YouTube, definitely the podcast platforms, all that good stuff, man. And if there's anything else I got to say, I'm going to catch y'all on the next episode. Y'all be blessed.